I beheld till the thrones were calm, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened.
Isaiah 11. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together. And the little child shall lead them, and the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp. And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of there. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, the devil at work, okay, and what we're seeing, that's happening in real time. E is setting the stage for his next move, Esau Edom, okay, because these devils, as the scriptures say, he knoweth, okay, that he have but a short time. All right, matter of fact, let's just get into some precepts. I got a couple videos. All right, there's a lot going on. Okay, and the devil, he's setting the stage. All right, to justify and make himself, look like a hero. Okay, and what he really wants to do, and that's to come down, with great wrath. Okay, this new world order. All right, Esau. His mindset is he's going to bring this new world order in with a lot of bloodshed, okay? And he especially, all right, wants the blood of the tribes, okay? So you see a lot of psyops, okay, going on, a lot of enchantments, okay? A lot of division, okay, and is setting the stage for Esau to make his next move. Okay, so let's go here to the book of Revelation, all right, chapter 12, okay, which, um, let's see, let's go here, Revelation chapter 12, okay, in verse 12 it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, all right, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time. All right, and this devil know that the walls are closing in on him. You best believe, the scriptures say he's weary in his counsels. Okay, because he know he has a window to pull this off what he's trying to do. And the Lord has his man, hardened to even to think, all right, that he can pull this off. Okay, so when you go into this word, let's see. All right, going to the word no. Okay, in the Greek, let's see if it give us some.
Strong's G 1492. Ido.
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 All right, and it says to perceive, to notice, to discern. Okay, to turn the eyes to, the mind, the attention to anything, man. All right, and this devil, you can see, all right, he has his focus on establishing a new world order. Okay, through AI, through his technology. Okay, central government. All right, all these governments are in chaos, and that's intentional. They're intentionally sabotaging these governments, sabotaging the economy. Okay, orchestrate, division and unrest. Okay, so this devil, he's giving his mind, his attention to establishing this new world order. You see, the Biden era, set up, all right, the Trump era. Okay, and through Trump, the elites are full steam ahead, pushing what, man? This new world order. Okay, nothing but event after event, conflict after conflict, airstrikes, the civil unrest, the economy, people are crying more. So everything that we've seen, okay, from the beginning of the year until now, has been another step towards these devils, all right, setting the stage for them to come down with great wrath. Okay, because this devil, he's gonna he lives by the sword. Okay, so he's preparing, the propaganda, okay, the narrative that makes him look like a hero, okay, when he goes to the sword. You see, so he has to, plaster, okay, certain people, Jake, the left, okay, where Jake is lumped in, with the left, with the weirdos and the alphabet, okay, and they've been allowed, Jake been allowed to run amok, okay, under the Democrat Party, which they were just a setup because it's all one system, it's all one machine. Okay, so you go here to Job, all right, and this devil in his mind, he's fully persuaded, that he has a chance to pull this off. Okay, this is Job 12:16. It says, with him, all right, this is what Yahweh Bashem Shai is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. Okay, so Esau, Edom, the scriptures say, he will go out to deceive the four corners of the earth. Okay, but this devil is deceived as well, because there's levels to deception. All right, and this devil is deceived in his mind to think that he can pull this off, this new world order. So he's going on to the next phase. You see, and this is why we push, okay, within this grace period to take this thing serious, man. Okay, because there's gonna come a time when we're not, all right, going to be on the highways and byways teaching. Okay, this is truth. This truth is time sensitive. Okay, there's gonna come a time, all right, when all we're gonna have is our faith, what we've stored up during this grace period. Okay, so when you go to Isaiah 55:6. It says, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found." Okay, because as things intensify, all right, there's not going to be the ministry of street teaching forever. There's not going to be the ministry of live streams and sit downs forever, man. The Lord is near now. He can be found now. Okay, because this thing is getting ready to go to the next phase, man. Okay, it's not going to be long. We're gradually getting to a point, okay, of civil unrest, man. Okay, tensions are high, emotions are high. Now things, can simmer down. All right, because Americans are so short-minded. All right, by this weekend, college football, one weekend of college football. All right, and the Americans are back in the stupor. Okay, but we know that eventually it's gonna come a time when it's gonna be a rousing up to where it ain't no reversing, man. Okay, so we just watch these things, but we know where things are trending in the spirit. All right, it says, "Call you upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon," man. We constantly push, repentance, all right, to our people, because as long as we, have these platforms to teach, the doors of mercy are open. Okay, the Lord has his prophets, teaching, okay, in the midst of turmoil. Okay, as the plot thickens, as things constantly intensify and reach a breaking point, the Lord still has his hand stretched out, all right, via the prophets for mercy, man. So we're constantly telling our people, look, you have a savior, you have a way out. Okay, you have a protector and a provider in the midst of all these things that's going on, man. Okay, because a judgment is finna overwhelm the world, especially here in America, man. Okay, so let's go from there. I want to get this video. All right, my guy. All right, Shaheed Boslin. His take on the whole assassination. Okay, all right, he be on America ass, all right, from start to finish. Okay, so let's play this. He said some things that are interesting, some points, all right, that we can draw from in the spirit. Okay, so let's let this play, and we commentate as needed. All right, so let's play this.
We'll talk about it. Let's start with the obvious, okay? First, I'm not going to feign grief or feign mourning for this person. I know that's a hypocrisy that social etiquette demands at a moment like this, but we all know that he would certainly not grieve for us. He certainly would not mourn for us, just as he never grieved and he never mourned for the wanton slaughter of the Palestinians in Gaza. He never grieved for that. And for myself personally, as a Muslim and as a critic of Western so-called civilization, I know that Charlie Kirk himself would most likely have officially anyway considered me to be his enemy. And as far as I'm concerned, any man whose enemy mourns him when he dies, well, he wasn't doing his job. And I don't think it can be said about Charlie Kirk that he didn't do his job, which is to say that he never did anything and he never said anything in his public life that would make me mourn his passing, just as I hope that I will never say or do anything in my public life by each other's absence. But let me also be crystal clear about this. It doesn't make me happy either. I neither mourn nor celebrate. Neither of those reactions is appropriate, in my opinion. Whoever pulled that trigger didn't do it for me, and they didn't do it for you. I don't even see them as being on two different sides. They didn't silence Charlie Kirk. They amplified Charlie Kirk. The power structure never cared about that boy. They used him. And he's more useful to them now than he was the day before. He's more useful to them dead than he was alive. Listen, you don't defeat someone like this, someone like a Charlie Kirk, a tool like him, by letting that tool mold you into exactly what they want you to be. That killer didn't deliver justice. If you think they did, he didn't. He delivered to the power structure an even more enhanced weapon. He made a mediocre, but dangerous and polarizing figure, Charlie Kirk, into now an impeachable icon for the very fan base that he most likely despises. and he made criticism of Charlie Kirk's ideas. Now it's disrespect for the dead. This is not resistance. This is a gift. This is a gift to the very security state that he probably thought he was attacking. Now it's stupidity. Or maybe, as the conspiracy theories are already speculating, what actually happened was just a purge of an expendable asset to create a more powerful symbol. Well, they'll use his death. Oh, how they will use it. They will use his death to paint every dissenting voice, every cry for a more just world. They'll paint it with the same bloody brush. They're going to use his death to avoid once again ever having to look in the mirror. They're going to hold Charlie Kirk's body up as a shield against any examination of the society that created him and the society that created his killer, the society that they made and that they rule. And you didn't do anything now but strengthen their hold on that society. They're going to use his corpse as a pulpit to preach from. And you just validated all the lies that they're going to be preaching. You understand me? Because listen, the truth is that.
Because what we have to understand, all right, it's not about, a Charlie Kirk. Okay, it's about an agenda. It's about ideology. Okay, and now, they can present, okay, the white male, okay, as a victim in America. His conservative values. All right, because you look at the character that Charlie Kirk, played. All right, and you have to remember all these people are disposable. These are controlled oppositions. Okay, Charlie Kirk, your Candace Owens, okay, your Alex Jones. These are all controlled oppositions, and they're characters, and they're allowed, to garner a following, okay, and become, beloved and liked and hated, at the same time, okay, because it plays into their narrative of victimhood. Now the devils can play victim more. Okay, he was a conservative white male, family man. All right, and they paint that as the picture of the people that run this society are just these innocent, okay, victims, okay, of being a successful nation of people. They're hated, because of success. You see, and just like he said, now, they have, all right, a platform, okay, of victimhood that they can run with. So more than likely, it was just a inside hit, just to take him out. Okay, he's disposable. You see, it's the ideology, it's the psyops more important than the actual person. Okay, you think Elon Musk and Donald Trump really give a damn about a Charlie Kirk? Okay, you think these billionaires, these oligarchs give a damn about Charlie Kirk? Okay, and his family? No. Just like Shaheed Bosman, this power system didn't care about that boy. Okay, he was just a tool used, all right, to spread, all right, ideology, scientific racism, all right, Edomite male supremacy, okay, victimhood, innocence, okay, of this conservative white male father figure, okay, smart, he's just going around debating people. He's just this intellectual, powerhouse. Okay. So now they get to play victim, and he's going to go into, all right, what else they're going to spin off of this, man? Because they're going to spin a lot off of this, man, showing you that it was said the fact that they can't so-called find the killer lets you know, okay, that the devil set this up. Okay, so let's let it play some more.
Charlie Kirks of the world are not the enemy. The enemy is the society, it's the system, it's the power structure, it's the so-called civilization that creates boys like Charlie Kirk. I call him a boy because that's what he is to me. I'm 54 years old. That's what he is to me, or that's what he was. And also because he presented a childish, simplistic cartoon portrait of America that only a young boy could ever believe in. He presented an America without complexity, without guilt, without the burden of their terrible history. Well, that's a seductive product. And America has always been an eager market for that sort of a product. He existed because of supply and demand. You demand and the power structure supplies. The killer and the killed are the products of the same sick society. Kirk and his killer, and the other 18,535 victims and their killers. And wallahi, if you don't clock this reality, if you don't understand this reality, and if you let yourself get swept up in all the narratives and all the counter narratives, then you might just end up being like one of them on one side or the other side of that gun, because the machine is already spinning. The machine, that same machine that Charlie Kirk served so faithfully. They're spinning the narrative now. They're going to label him as a martyr for free speech, a victim of left-wing extremism. And they're going to use his death. They're going to use it to demand more surveillance, more censorship, more policing, more militarization of the police against their opponents, more police powers. They're going to use his blood to sanitize his ideology and to legitimize every poisonous thing that he ever said. And some of you are out here cheering about what happened. Well, you're fools. Why, when you celebrate, all you do is elevate and strengthen their narrative. Charlie Kirk was not an outlier. He was a product. He was the logical output of a system that's designed to generate exactly what he was. Like I said, he didn't create the demand. The demand was already there. He just exploited it. He sold a fantasy, like I say, a fantasy where all of the problems of modern America, economic decay, economic despair, cultural displacement, and cultural unrest, political powerlessness, these are all not the inevitable results of late-stage capitalism in a dying empire. No, it's all the fault of immigrants. It's all the fault of minorities, of wokeism, some internal enemy that's not in power. Well, now he's been killed. And his death is going to be used to service that same system. The security state benefits, the politicians that he supported benefit, the media benefits because they get endless hours now of content, of debate, of fear-mongering, of polarization mining. You understand me? The entire apparatus of control gets a massive boost. His killing was not an attack on the system. It was a gift to the system. You didn't extinguish a fire, you just scattered the embers and made it more dangerous. The individual who pulled that trigger, their motives are irrelevant. It doesn't matter if they saw themselves as a revolutionary or they saw themselves as a vigilante. Their actions serve a deeply counter-revolutionary purpose. You understand me? You didn't help Muslims. You didn't help so-called minorities. You didn't help immigrants. You didn't help women. You didn't help anyone. All you did was exactly what they created Charlie Kirk to goad you into doing. Please understand me. You contributed now. Whoever did this contributed to exactly the climate that they created Charlie Kirk to create. No, they're both servants of chaos. The killer and the killed. No, you don't need a bullet. You need a brain. You need a mind that can't be manipulated. You need an inflammable heart. A heart that can stay calm, cool, and collected when everything around you is in flames. That's what you need. And wallahi, you can't let the hatred of a people cause you to act unjustly, or to advocate or to endorse injustice, or to celebrate injustice. Don't let that boy's enmity towards us and ours towards him make you think that his murderer is our ally. No, you don't answer words with bullets. Back in the day, back in the time of the Sahaba, when the Muslims would fight against the kuffar. The kuffar, they would bring their drummers and they would bring their singing girls to egg them on. Nobody ever killed them. Well, that's what Charlie Kirk was. You don't win a war by targeting the singing girls and the drummers of your enemy. That's no strategy. I've said many, many times, you have to erect your partitions around your discourse.
Yeah, man. So he brought out a lot of valid points, and this guy, Charlie Kirk, like he said, was nothing but a drummer boy, okay, for the system, all right, of Edomite supremacy, okay. He had no real power. He had no real sway. He wasn't, all right, a mover and shaker, okay, of this machine of Edomite supremacy, okay. He was a logo, okay, for the ideology, that these devils, okay, are going to use to justify their next move, okay? And this whole narrative of him being assassinated, all right, for his principles plays right into, all right, their victimhood narrative that they're going to push, okay, to justify their next move of being, all right, more brutal, okay, and more direct with the sword, okay? So this is the brother of Dhammawakia, and brother GMS in his likeness, Psalm 64 and 5. It said, they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Okay, because people don't see the movers and shakers in the background. Okay, like we went into earlier, the wickedness that's in high places. They don't see the psyops. You know, you have people celebrating his death. You know, some people are pissed, and whatever it is. And like you said, if you're on either side, you're still playing into the narrative. They need, all right, people that support Charlie Kirk and his ideology, and they need people that be against him and hate him and his ideology for them, all right, to justify their narrative of what they want to do. So whether you love or hate the guy, or you love or hate the ideology and what he stood for, supposedly stood for, okay, you still play into one of, all right, the characters needed for Esau to justify his next move, man. Okay, and that's to be a victim. Okay, so he's building up the 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 victimhood narrative, and then you know he's gonna come with the sword and save himself, be the hero. You see, but if people don't see this playing in the background, they get caught up, okay, in the TikTok back and forth and the social media and the comment boards. But ultimately, these are these devils gearing up for the next move, okay. And this is, and we're going to see psyop after psyop, okay, to get them to that point. You see, to where they seem justified in the sword. All right, Psalm 64 and 6. It says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of the heart is deep. Okay. And see, a lot of people, that think they're woke, they're still on the very surface level. All right. This man, Esau, he's deep into his wickedness, man. Okay. He's more crafty than any, all right, beast of the field than any other nation, man. He's Edomites, okay, was blessed with subtlety. All right. And if you are not, if you don't have the light, okay, of Yahushua, okay, then you're always going to be a few steps behind this devil, no matter how woke you think you are. Okay, so let's go here, because there's already a play to take this devil down. Okay, and see what this does. This incites, people to be violent, against the government, and then it incites, these red-blooded patriots, okay, to take action against anyone that's against, all right, their, great country, you know, making America great again. All this is nothing but ideologies, okay, to cause chaos, man. These two conflicting ideologies that have been presented to the masses for these last few decades, all right, were meant to cause a clash and chaos, man. Okay, to play into the devil's narrative. You see, let's go here. All right, we know that the devil, all right, he's on his last leg, man. And that's why we know not to try to get into, okay, these civil scuffles and the back and forth, because we know how it plays out. Okay, this is Psalms 37 and 7. It says, rest in the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him that prospered in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices, all right, to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, they shall inherit the earth, man. Okay, so the elect of Israel is getting ready to inherit the earth, man. Okay, Esau, Edom, he's on his last leg. He's on his last moments of rulership. Okay, so we know that we don't have to conjure up, all right, any plan of our own, okay, to try to supplant this devil from power. No, that's already in play through prophecy, man. The Lord is finna remove this man, okay? The Lord is getting ready to remove this devil from power, and he's, all right, he's on his last ditch effort to try to cleave to power, man. He's going to fail, okay? Now, I got another video, okay, just to show the ideology, all right, that they want to, this is the ideology that they want at the forefront, okay, of their new world order. So let's play this, okay? It says white nationalism isn't the fringe, it's the future, all right, Republicans are building, all right? And this whole thing of Democrat and Republican, all right, is a thing of this old system, okay? This new system is Edomite male supremacy, all right in your face, okay, under Satan. You see? So let's play this.
White nationalism isn't the fringe, it's the future Republicans are building. And I'm basing this on a rant that Senator Eric Schmidt, the Republican senator from Missouri, gave at the National Conservatism Conference over the weekend. I'll give you the quote. And by the way, this is how Republicans talk when they're saying, basically America should be a white Christian nation run by white men. Quote, that's what set Donald Trump apart from the old conservatism and the old.
And see, this also shows you that Christianity, was rooted in Edomite supremacy, white supremacy, what we know to be Edomite supremacy. It had nothing to do with, all right, the forwarding of, all right, the righteousness of the scriptures. All right, that's why, the other apostles of the heart, deemed Christianity, plantation Christianity, okay, because it keeps everyone else in a slave mind, especially Jacob, okay, and it exalts him to be supreme, okay. That's why he's, all the righteous characters of the Bible, the prophets, he's King David, he's King Solomon, he's the Most High, he's Messiah, okay, he's the Apostle Paul. You see, he's everyone. Then even the secular history, he's himself. Alexander, the Roman Caesars. Okay, so this devil, he's just everyone that's powerful in history is him. Okay, in the Bible, he whitewashed the Bible. Okay, for the sake of Edomite supremacy, for the Edomite supremacy had nothing to do, okay, with righteousness in the earth, because what's being forwarded, the righteousness of the scriptures are Edomite supremacy. Okay, what's being forwarded real time? What's been forwarded since this man's been in power? The righteousness of the scriptures are Edomite supremacy, man. Edomite supremacy, man. Okay, that's what the Bible was used as a decoy. Okay, and he used the scriptures, to as another tool to justify Edomite supremacy, man. Okay, so he pushing this narrative that the Edomite Christian male, okay, is a rightful ruler, okay, of the earth. And anything opposes God. Okay, that's the narrative he pushed with Christianity, man. Okay, so let's let this play.
Liberalism alike. He knows that America is not just an abstract proposition, but a nation and a people with its own distinct history and heritage and interests. When they tear down our statues and monuments, right? Of course, he's from Missouri, but he's talking about the Civil War, right? The Confederacy. When they mock our history, when they insult our traditions, they're attacking our future as well as our past. By changing the stories we tell about ourselves, they believe they can build a new America with a new myth of a new people. But America does not belong to them. It belongs to us. End of quote from Eric Schmidt. Yeah, us white people. That's who America owns, or owns America, rather. I suppose you could argue that since the majority of people in the United States are white, and since white people control the majority of the wealth, that it's technically correct to say that white people own America. But it doesn't mean that America is a nation of, by, and for exclusively white people. In fact, it's the opposite. I mean, we've been hearing racists peddling this kind of us versus them rhetoric for a long time, but it's kind of shocking, frankly, to hear a United States senator say it. And speaking of only of a singular people, white, implicitly Christian, and implicitly obedient to his authoritarianism. In fact, this senator also hired a guy, Nathan Hochman, who had been forced out of Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign after he was pushing Nazi imagery. I mean, this is the GOP just basically embracing all this kind of stuff. And this is how authoritarian regimes always consolidate power. I mean, George Orwell in 1984 said, whoever controls the past controls the present, and whoever controls the present controls the future. So controlling the past is critical. But, the bottom line here is that Eric Schmidt is basically saying America is a country of, by, and for white people, period. Which is weird given that it was Ronald Reagan who said this. This is a quote from Ronald Reagan. Quote, "You can go live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or a Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American. This," Reagan said, "I believe is one of the most important sources of America's greatness."
And that's how it was in Rome. Okay. You had different, nationalities, but they was able to get Roman citizenship. Okay, and declare themselves Romans because it's an idea, it's a culture. It's not a nationality. America is a culture, a way, an ideology. Okay, ultimately it's an ideology of Satan. Okay, that's why there is come one, come all, except all, because it's an ideology of Satan. Okay, when you embrace American culture, all right, what they call American values, well, you're embracing Satanism. That's why you can come from all over and be considered America, because America was an idea. Okay, and the elites have used America, okay, to satanize the earth. Okay, and now they're transitioning, all right, from this American first, world order to a global world order under Satan. Okay, America was a stepping stone, all right, for the elites, okay, to step into a global world order, okay?
We lead the world because, unique among nations, we draw our people and our strength from every country and every corner of the world. And by doing so, we continuously renew and enrich our nation. While other countries cling to the stale past, here in America, we breathe life into dreams. We create the future, and the world follows us into tomorrow. Thanks to each new wave of arrivals to this land of opportunity, we're a nation forever young, forever bursting with energy and new ideas, and always on the cutting edge, always leading the world to the next frontier. This quality, Reagan said, is vital to our future as a nation. If we ever close the door to new Americans, our leadership in the world would soon be lost. I mean, keep in mind, it was Reagan who, oversaw the redrafting of a comprehensive immigration act and kept in place the change in rules that LBJ had made in 1965 that did away with racial quotas into the United States. Obviously, Trump has put those racial quotas back, not explicitly and mathematically, but saying, basically, we're not letting anybody from the rest of the world in unless they're white. I mean, he's openly said he wants more Norwegians, and he's got this program for American Afrikaners. In other words, for white South Africans to come to the United States. This is a struggle for the soul of America. I mean, this is the any party that embraces white supremacy and a fascist ethos cannot coexist with democracy, and that's where the Republican Party's gone. And now they're trying to strip our museums of our heritage. They're trying to change our textbooks. They're giving these wild speeches. They're changing our laws. I mean, look what the Supreme Court just did. They just said it's okay to racially profile people. This was Brett Kavanaugh wrote this and was backed up by his 5 corrupt, on-the-take Republican colleagues on the U.S. Supreme Court, saying that racial profiling is fine. No problem. If you think somebody is here illegally because their skin is brown, go tackle them to the ground. And if they can't produce ID, throw them in jail. This is the papers, please world that the Republicans have been hysterically screaming about since the end of World War II. That, oh my God, America's, this is Joe McCarthyism. Was all about, oh my God, somebody's.
So this is what these devils, have at the forefront of their New World Order. All right, Edomite male supremacy. Okay, and that they're completely justified in everything that they do, because they're supreme. You see. So let's go here. Let's get the book of Sirach, chapter 10. It started at verse 13. It says, "For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that have it shall pour out abomination." Okay, and the only thing that this devil, has poured out in his rulership is abomination. The earth is an abomination when the Lord looks into this age. Okay, the rulership of Esau, Edom is one big abomination. All right, and the Lord's finna judge it, man. Okay, it says, "And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly," man. Okay, and it's going to be plagues. All right, and then the last plague is going to be the missiles, man. Okay, so the Lord's finna overthrow, all right, this proud, abominable kingdom of Esau, Edom. Okay, so the Lord have cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead, man. So transition of power. Okay, we're living in a time of transition of power, man, and we have to believe that this is what's happening. We have to fully believe, because it's going to come a time, and it's all we're going to have is faith. Hold that fast to which thou hast until I come. We're going to have to believe that we're, all right, in the transition, okay, from the rulership of wicked Esau, Edom, to the righteous rulership of Jacob under Yahushua, man. Okay, it said the Lord have plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. Okay, and Lord willing, we of that lowly, that's getting ready to be planted in the place, all right, of this wicked, proud root, okay, of Esau, Edom. Okay, it says the Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. He took some of them away and destroyed them, and have made them memorial to cease from the earth, man. So these devils, all right, their rulership, okay, is finna get snatched. They're finna go into captivity, man. And see, the Lord is gonna remodel the earth in righteousness, man. And it's gonna be like wickedness, okay, was never here. Okay, the memory of Esau's wicked empire, all right, is going to be done out of the earth, man, done away with out of the earth. Okay, and that's part of what the faith, all right, and the hope, of the saints. Okay, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the whole flesh. Shalom.